Hello everybody. So I want to start off by saying, oh, well, hello there. We have a visitor. I want to start off by saying I'm the worst. I really am. I'm that friend that you have who goes off and has a baby and is like, things aren't going to change. Everything's going to be exactly the same. And then you don't hear from them for months. That's me right now. And it makes me really confused how those other like YouTube family vloggers, like, how do y'all do that? Like, I really want to know. Do not sniff the microphone. Like, I really want to know. How do y'all do that? Because I like, if I have free time, I'm just like trying to savor a book or something. Like, I'm not like, let me whip out my camera right now. Plus, I mean, this might sound a little harsh, but babies don't really do that much. I love my baby, and I'm impressed by the little things she does, but I don't think other people are. Anyway, that's a whole other topic. Today, what I wanted to talk about, because I know in my last video I said I'm going to make a video about a lot of your questions and concerns. Now, when I was reading through a lot of the comments, a lot of them were about stories you went through or things you were going through at the moment. So there wasn't really anything too specific that I hadn't already discussed in my past videos. So I thought what I would do today is just kind of give you a general overview of pregnancy and miscarriages and how that kind of works. Now, I am not a medical professional. I'm not giving medical advice here. I'm just speaking from my own experience. So you can take it or leave it, you know? And for those who have never seen any of my videos, I am someone who I've had 3 miscarriages, and I just recently had my little rainbow baby. I've gone through fertility testing where they never found anything specifically that was wrong with me, and so I'm just kind of speaking from a bit of experience of what I've gone through. So, pregnancy in general. When you're taking a pregnancy test, what it's testing for is a hormone known as HCG. That's the pregnancy hormone, and through your pregnancy, it'll continue to rise up until it kind of plateaus and they kind of stop checking it at that point. It's a lot in the first few weeks, first few months that you're pregnant that they're looking for that. So essentially, if you get a positive on a pregnancy test, it's saying, hey, you have that hormone and you have enough of that hormone that your pregnancy test was able to detect it. That's why they have some that are super sensitive. They'll say, oh, we'll give you the result the fastest because they can test for a lower amount of HCG. So if you're pregnant, you'll get a positive sooner, basically, because it is very possible for you to get a negative and you are in fact pregnant. It's just you took the test too soon. That's why they recommend waiting until at least the day of your missed period. And even that's kind of iffy because that means that you had to ovulate at the perfect time for that to all line up. Now, for me, my body was pretty consistent, and I was able to get very early positive pregnancy tests. However, the line on those pregnancy tests were very faint, and I know I've read all online and everything that how dark your pregnancy test doesn't determine how much of that hormone you have in you, is what they say. It doesn't determine like how far along you are or anything. But for me, that's what I found to be the case. I would take pictures of my pregnancy test every day because I was one of those crazy people who like, and you know who you are. When you're trying to have a baby, it's like you lose like all sense of self. You're checking every single message board you can for any little symptom. It's like, oh, my nose started running. Am I pregnant? Like, you know what I'm talking about. So I was one of those people, and I would take a picture of my pregnancy test every day. I would save them, which is kind of gross, and I'd line them up, and you can see the lines getting darker the further I progressed along. And of course, it only works for a certain amount of time because, like I said, it kind of plateaus out. Like, you kind of hit a point where you're going to get that dark line no matter what. So in my personal opinion, it does kind of show how far you are. However, a faint positive is still a positive. There is like so slim, like the chances of you getting a false yes are like this big. The chances of you getting a false no, a lot bigger, just based on timing and everything else. Because if you ovulate late, you're not going to get a positive test till later on. Does that make sense? So essentially that's what HCG is. That's how you know if you're pregnant or if you're not. And that's also how you would know if you had a miscarriage or not. Because a lot of people don't even know if they've had miscarriages or not. They just kind of think, well, did that happen to me? At least that was my experience once I started opening up about my early miscarriages, because I had very, very early miscarriages. I think the latest miscarriage I had was 8 weeks. So they were all super early. And people would come to me and say, I think I may have had one before because of X, Y, and Z, but they had never actually taken a test because they weren't actively trying or anything, so they just never knew. And that's still like, their feelings are valid, if that makes sense to you, because I had someone come up to me and tell me once that I shouldn't even worry about the fact that I had 3 miscarriages because people probably have them all the time and they just don't know about them. Essentially just shutting down my feelings, shutting down the fact that it happened to me, making it seem like it's not a big deal when it is a big deal. And of course, your feelings vary by person, but it's just like, your feelings are valid. If you think you had one, it's likely that you did and you just don't know about it. Or maybe you didn't. But either way, your feelings are important and no one should be able to talk down to you like that. That's just ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. For me in particular, I had to be on a pill called progesterone, which essentially, that's a hormone. And that is the hormone that tells your body, hey, we're pregnant. Let's stay pregnant. And while none of my fertility testing ever specifically said that was a problem, I would have some instances where I would get a positive test, and I would test early. So I'd hop into the doctor's office. They'd make me come every day and take a little bit of blood. They'd test my HCG levels to make sure they were progressing. And they would also test my progesterone. And sometimes my progesterone would be a little low. It was still in the normal, but it was a little low. And so the doctor I had with this last pregnancy, love her so, so much. She went ahead and she put me on progesterone. And I think I took it for a week, and then she gave me another refill for, I want to say altogether, I took it for a month. Because the same thing happens with progesterone that does with HCG. You get to a point where your body kind of just takes over. You don't need extra help. It levels itself off. So by taking that pill, my body was getting the signal of, hey, you don't need to have a period. No need to tear down all these walls and whatever else. You're pregnant. Let's stay pregnant. And I do believe that helped me a lot. Unfortunately, it depends on your doctor if they're going to prescribe that to you or not, and how seriously they take you. Because I've gone to other doctors where I wasn't taken very seriously, and it's not fun. It's really not. Try to find yourself a great doctor. Look at all of the reviews you can. Ask people, do you like your OBGYN? Tell me more. Or whoever you're going to see, if it's a midwife or just whoever. You really want to be with somebody that you trust the whole time. So that's essentially pregnancy and pregnancy tests and hormones in general. And so what happens is, if you're pregnant and your body decides that this pregnancy isn't going to be viable, something is wrong. And a lot of cases are with miscarriages that there's some sort of chromosomal issue. Something's not matching up. And of course, doctors don't have all the answers. It's hard to test for that sort of stuff, so it makes sense. But something's not adding up. This isn't a viable pregnancy. Your body will automatically be like, okay, it's time to clear house. And you go through psychological, physical, just hell. I'm sorry, but it's hell. It's horrible. You feel horrible. You're in literal pain, or at least I was, and it's miserable. And if you're lucky, and if it's early enough, your body will be able to take care of all of this by itself, and you'll be able to just be back on schedule with your periods. You don't have to worry about anything. But if you are a little further along in your pregnancy, then you might have the issue of needing to see a doctor, because they may have to give you another pill to make sure everything's cleared out of your system, to make sure you're healthy again, because you don't want any remaining cells or anything in you. It can make you get sick and you could die. I mean, to put it very bluntly. And after your miscarriages, they always do recommend that you go see a doctor anyway, because they'll still test those HCG levels, those progesterone levels, until they're low enough that they could say, okay, you're not pregnant anymore. We don't consider you pregnant anymore. And that's one of their ways of making sure that everything is out of your system. Now, in my first miscarriage, I didn't do this. I was just so shocked about everything that was going on because I had a positive test and I literally only found out I was miscarrying because I went to a clinic to get proof of my pregnancy. I was trying to get it on Medicaid because I was a college student the first time and I had health insurance, but of course, like, government health insurance is a lot better than what you have as far as like deductibles and stuff, at least here in America. That's how it is for me. So I was trying to get that done, and when I went up there, they told me that, like, my test was negative. And I was shocked. I thought, well, it's just a fluke because, you know, lots of people have negative tests. Like, this just must be a fluke. So I went to the store and I actually bought an expensive pregnancy test. And pregnancy tests are so expensive in general. But for me, I'd always just bought like these super cheapy, like Amazon, like you pee in a cup and you put the stick in and you wait 5 minutes and then you check it type thing. But I went and actually bought an expensive test. I want to say it was like $18. Like, that's what we're talking here. And I peed on it and it said not pregnant. And I just lost it. I just lost it. And with my other miscarriages, what I've learned, at least, is because I would keep taking pregnancy tests even after I was pregnant. And I even had a friend get mad at me at one point and be like, you need to stop doing that. You're just torturing yourself. If it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. You need to just let it go. And it's like, but I can't let it go because I've been through it before. And by testing every day, by seeing that increasingly dark line, it like satisfied me all day. Does that make sense? Like, it satisfied me to be like, okay, I'm okay today. And I was able to move on. Even when I was testing to see if I was just pregnant, I'd do the same thing. Because if it was negative, I wouldn't spend all day thinking like, oh my God, am I pregnant? Am I pregnant? Like, it would just be done in the morning. Which, if I haven't said it already, is the best time to test your urine. Because you haven't peed for so long that your hormones, there's like more hormones and stuff in there. But yeah, so what I did after that first miscarriage was I would keep testing every day, and you could see the drop off. You could see the fading line, or you would see the negative test. And so even though I wasn't bleeding yet, I was at least forewarned that it was going to happen, which still sucks. It still sucks, but it is a lot better than just going to the bathroom and wiping and seeing blood. Yeah, pregnancy is a roller coaster. And after my 3 miscarriages, like I said in my last video, I stopped making videos because I thought this was just going to be like a fun progress thing, and then it turned into, well, other people are going through this too, so I'll keep making videos. But I needed a break. Honestly, I needed a break from pregnancy and everything in itself. So I took a lot of time off. I want to say it was like almost a year off trying to get pregnant or anything. I did everything. I called it a baby bucket list, which sounds kind of morbid, but basically what it was is just doing all of the stuff that I wouldn't do when I was pregnant or when I had a baby, or just things I kind of wanted to get done before. And it was nice in a way. It was nice to be like, you know what? I'm going to try again. I don't know what's going to happen, but for now, I'm going to dye my hair purple. My hair was purple. I was blonde. Like, I was like every color of the rainbow hair. You know, and it was just sort of that stuff of kind of distracting myself, trying to heal myself mentally, giving my time physically to heal. Because I do think that was one of the issues of my miscarriages, was just not giving my body enough time to heal. And I will say, with my current baby, she was a fighter. Through and through. I had food poisoning. I had a fractured rib. My house flooded. I was under stress all the time with contractors and everything else. And it was just like boom, 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 boom. One thing after another. Things that shouldn't like be happening when you're pregnant at all. Like my dog broke her leg, so I was having to take care of her. I was restricted to not lift more than 10 pounds because I had a bleeding episode at 27 weeks. Like just all this stuff. And it's a miracle she's here to me, because with my other pregnancies I was so sensitive about it. But there she is crying. She's awake. But yeah, guys, so for today, that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about. Just pregnancy and miscarriages in general. They suck, but I do think having that healing time, it helped me to be able to go into this next pregnancy with a healthy mental state. And I also did my best to accept, if I never was able to get pregnant, like, what would I do? So I would suggest doing that too. Give yourself some time, give your partner some time, because my husband wasn't in a big rush either to jump back in and try to have a baby. He was hurt too by the stuff in the past. So sometimes you just need time to heal. Anyway, guys, next week I think I'm going to post my birth story. I basically did a Snapchat through the whole thing, so you can kind of see what happened. But for now, I'm going to go get that crying baby who just woke up. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.